Okay, thank you very much. So we are continuing with our transport insurance model, and we are now dealing with liability insurance. With this particular topic, our objective is to ensure that the students are aware of the various coverage of different liability insurance policies, and in particular the risk covered and those generally excluded. And also, students should know their liability insurance for FIATA bill of lading, and to understand the role of protection and indemnity clause and the TT clause. Liability relating to goods. We know that in the transport of goods, cargo moves from one country to the other by various modes of transport. Now, when that happens, different regimes of liabilities are applicable in the event of any loss, damage, or delays during the transportation. It is thus important that the freight forwarder understands the right and obligation of each carrier during each mode of transport. So when you look at the various modes of transport, road, rail, sea, air, whatever, they have their distinct limitations when it comes to liabilities. So we want you to understand the right and obligation of the carrier when they are applying road or rail or by air or by sea. So that is the understanding that we want you to have as far as liability insurance is concerned. And another thing we need you to understand is the fact that as a freight forwarder, you can minimize the exposure to risk. Okay, by risk, we mean loss, damage, or delays of transport. And these are the things that would help you. Number one, there must be consistent training and retraining for your staff. And I always insist on what? Freight forwarders using the well-trained personnel in their companies. Also, the freight forwarders should be able to educate their clients on the standard trading conditions. Okay, so when you look at limited liability insurance cover, on the basis of standard trading conditions and the Hague-Visby rule, which you have already learned in your freight forwarding model, it lays down some limits of the freight forwarder's liability. And then the freight forwarder has the option of taking insurance only to cover his limited liability. He also has the option of accepting deductible franchise under which he bears self-insurance up to a certain proportion of any claim. And then you know that the higher the deductible amount, the lower the premium. However, there is a risk that the freight forwarder may face with a large number of small claims aggregating to large sums in which he may face, and it causes him not to be able to claim any reimbursement from his insurance. So the freight forwarder may reduce the cost of insurance by lowering the limits of his insurance cover. This would be reasonable as long as it based on his past claim experience and track record. But there is risk that unexpectedly large claims in excess of limits, you could subject him to what? Heavy losses. So that is called what? Limited liability insurance cover. We also have the full liability insurance cover, and that insurance cover actually also based on the standard trading conditions, and it covers a reasonable amount. Okay, it's full legal liabilities, and they are able to declare the value And should the shipper or the cargo interest want its value to be included in the transfer document, this value must be disclosed to the insurers. And then we also have the top-up insurance cover. We have the top-up insurance cover, and this also is a peculiar type of liability insurance scheme, which is prevalent in the European countries. And in a typical contractual situation between freight forwarder and the customer, the freight forwarder would only take arrangements for minimum insurance cover under this scheme. Freight forwarders are obliged to offer their customers with the option to top up a minimal insurance cover. To effect this, the customer pays the insurer an extra or top-up amount in terms of the premium for better coverage. So these are the three types of the three types of liability insurance cover. We have the limited, we have the full, and then the top-up. So in order for a freight forwarder to actually minimize the risk, he can educate the client on the standard trading condition and then a bill of lading terms, okay, like the vague Hisby rules and all that, and how to handle claims and recoveries effectively. If you're able to handle it effectively, it helps to minimize risk. And the use of correct documentation and how to ensure that subcontractors have adequate liability insurance cover to cover their negligence and provide adequate security arrangement against theft, pre-freight fire, and etc. When we talk about risk covered in liability insurance policy, we know that the potential liability that transport companies or others in a similar position bear can either be contract, tort, or statutory, okay? So not all such risks are covered by insurance. One liability insurance policy often covers certain risks, but exclude the others. The insured still bears some uncovered risk himself. So we want you to understand that even when it comes to the risk involved, okay, like I told you that there is limited liability insurance cover, there is full insurance cover, and there is top-up. What it means is that there are some insurance that covers to some extent some risk, and other risks are left uncovered. Okay, so in situation like this, how do you know? You need to read, or you need to understand the risk which is covered, okay, by a certain particular, by using a certain bill of lading, by using the standard trading conditions, or if these things are actually excluded from those policies, then you may look out for top-ups or whatever to actually cover the uncovered risk yourself. When we talk about contract liability, it's a liability which is basically an obligation on the part of the entity to transfer goods and services to a given customer for which the entity has already received consideration or premium from the customer. Tort liability, simply put, refers to the responsibility of an action. Tort liability indicates that someone is held accountable for wrongdoing other than other contracts. Tort are tied to civil claims. So tort liability, like precarious ones, those that are encountered as a result of the negligence of your staff, okay, all these things are can be covered. All these things can be covered. So apart from the contract liability and tort liability, we also have